Big Sills. 17 days away, man. Happy Monday to you. Hope all had a great weekend. Isn't this like one of the greatest times of the year? You know, I'll tell you what I miss about the Northeast. Wildwood, Jones Beach, Montauk, Block Island. If you got some money, you can go to the Hamptons. Those are great beaches. I mean, California, the beaches, in my opinion, they're good. You can't use them so much in Northern California because it's too cold. But, man, during this Ocean City, Maryland, by the way, man, really, really great beaches. Now, I don't know. I've been told Wildwood doesn't look as good as it used to. I spent a lot of my childhood, Ocean City, Maryland, Jones Beach, and Wildwood. Nickel Beer Night, Wildwood. Those were some of the best times, man. You know, you come out of the 4th of July holiday, and we're in the middle of summer. We got the All-Star game coming around. The truly only really great All-Star game is Major League Baseball's All-Star game, okay? Really is, man. I mean, Wildwood fell off. I'm an Ocean City, Maryland guy now. Dude, I saw Jaws there when it first – hey, Tony, I'm going to tell you how old I am. Big Sills, I'm so old. When I was a kid, Jaws like had its opening premiere, and one of the places that it opened was Ocean City, Maryland. Nobody wanted to go in the water the next day. They were so afraid what they saw. Dude, that movie, to this day, was one of the movies that you were like this. You went, am I going in the water the next day? And Ocean City's so awesome. Atlantic City's great, too. Our friends at Ocean's Casino will watch every single day. We appreciate you guys as well. Hey, the boardwalk is awesome as well. Montauk too rich for my blood, not loaded like Big Sills. No, Quan. No, man. Hey, I went up on my aunt's dime, not me. hey, dude. Not me, dude. No, man. Montauk's got great beaches, though. Really, man. Hey, Mateo, good afternoon, man. Big Sills, hope you had a great weekend. You too, man. I'm in such a good mood. Jawstruck feared me as a kid. Mateo, me too, man. I mean, dude, that's such a great Ocean City, Maryland. Dude, did they get gambling on that place and all up and down the East Coast? Those beaches are just going to be over the top. So, hey, I got a question before we get going here. How much money does Howie Roseman have right now, the GM of the Eagles? How much money does he have under the cap? Am I right that the number's like $13 million? I want to throw something out. You know, Big Sills is a big conspiracy guy. Oh, by the way, Gary Cobb 4:30 and Bobby Valentine at 5:30 or at 5:30, right? Neil says around $14 million. All right. So let me throw this out to you. 13.5. Okay, Kev. So between 13 and a half and $14 million. Pretty good number, right? All right. Elaine, how are you? Would you invest in a guy like Dalvin Cook or DeAndre Hopkins if you're the Eagles? Probably not, right? But let's do this. Say the Bucs suck. Can somebody do me a favor here? Tell me what the Buccaneers' first 4 games are this year. If the Buccaneers suck, they got some good players on that team. Okay? They got some good players. Tell me what the first 3 or 4 games are with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. And I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be very good. I just don't think they're going to be very good. Vikings loss. Bears win. Eagles lose. Saints lose. So they'll be 1-3 after that opening month of the season. If you're Jason Light and you're 1-3, knowing full well you're not going anywhere, even though the NFC is not packed, and they're not packed with really great teams. Then after that, you got Lions. They'll lose that. Falcons, they'll win that. And Bills. So in theory, You could be 2-5, and you're the Bucks. You're Jason Light. You're in salary cap hell. Would you put up Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Devin White as trade bait for draft picks for the next April draft? Which is scaled to be, I mean, you got Joey Porter in that draft if you're the Bucks, if you want to go back and get a backer. If you're Howie, you're kind of like only $7 million off the number. Do you wait until like the 6th game of the season to see how your linebackers are doing? And if the linebackers are not performing like you hope they would, do you go get Devin White? Do you make a trade and then you try to renegotiate his contract in the offseason? And you work the Howie Roseman wonders. He's the captain of the team. He's won a Super Bowl. He's a young player, and you could have a linebacker in the middle of your defense for the next decade. Would you go after White? What's White expected to make in 2022? I know he wants to redo his contract. So is Howie waiting for some of these teams that have some pretty good players on them? Because look at the Buccaneers. Why are you going to pay Mike Evans that money? The same way Arizona's not going to pay Hopkins the $24 million that was owed to him. They weren't going to do that. He's going to make $20 million this year. Little rich. Oh, White is due 11.7. Okay, so you bring him in at $11.7 million in 2022, hoping to renegotiate his contract. In 2023, you bring him in for 11.7. Then in 2024, you hope to renegotiate his contract. Dude, $11 million for a guy that could solidify your run defense. Then you're able to put Kobe Dean outside where I think he'd be more effective. White, Dean, now you got something. So if you're the Eagles, do you wait and see how the Bucks do? Look, I don't think Mike Evans is something on the Eagle radar. I don't think Chris Godwin. But I would make this point to you. Who do you think's got more value right now in the open market? Chris Godwin or DeAndre Hopkins at 31? Who's got more value if you want to make a trade with Tampa Bay? Who would command a first-round draft choice if you traded with the Bucks right now? Right? Who could get that number? Probably Chris Godwin. So is Howie playing a little cat and mouse here? Is he kind of waiting in the wings here just to see how the Bucks, because the Bucks got a lot of talent. And I don't think they're going to go anywhere with that talent this year. I think they're going to be I think that's a 5-6 win team at most. Do you start going in and do the Bucks start selling off some of the players to get draft choices to rebuild? And Godwin's 27 years old. Evans is 29. Dude, those two guys have more value, especially Evans, than DeAndre Hopkins does. So if I'm the Jets, say, I look at Dalvin Cook more than I do DeAndre Hopkins. I look at him more, and then during the season, and I'm in a different conference, I go to Tampa Bay and go, how much for Mike Evans? So then you put Mike Evans with the Jets. I think the Bucks are sitting back, waiting to see how this, because wouldn't you wave the white flag immediately if you're Tampa Bay and you're 2-5? Wouldn't you? And if you're the Eagles and you see your run defense is not getting it done, you might not have to go for a tackle this time. You go for a linebacker. And you go for Devin White at 11.7. Hey, and some would go like this. Sills, okay, you trade for what? Well, if I knew that that could help me win a Super Bowl, wouldn't you have a rental for 1 year? What would it cost you? I think the Bucs would want a 1. But wouldn't the Bucs be desperate? Hey, and for the record, guys, would you give the 32nd pickup for Devin White? Let's not forget something here. You guys are not going to pick in the top 10 picks in the next 10 years. You're going to be 31, 32, 30, 29, 28, somewhere down there. You're not going to have 10 or 11. Okay? We're not talking about top 15 picks here. We're talking about the 32nd pick or the 31st or 30th pick. Okay? It's a first rounder still, but wouldn't you give the 30? Hey, right, Tone? Wouldn't you give the 32nd pick up for Devin White at 25 years old? When you could, there's nobody you could draft at the 32nd pick that would be better than him. Put that into context. Is there anybody that you could pick at 32, 31, or 30 that would be better than Devin White? No. He's worth the pick. Here, take it. And you get a player for the next 10 years. And you don't have to worry about the linebacker conversation ever again. And he helps the Kobe Dean come along. And he helps the two tackles in front of him, knowing where to line up. I'm not saying that Kobe's not going to be a good player here. It's just too much unknown. There's a lot, and we're going to talk position rooms again. We're going to talk safety here in a minute. So to me, I mean, if you're Howie, you got to kind of look at some of the teams that are in the position right now that want to get out from cap hell and are in a rebuild. And look at some of the teams that are in the what do they do with Budda Baker in Arizona? Why are you going to negotiate a contract with Budda Baker in Arizona? Why? Why are you going to do that? Devin White is right now in future move. His presence would help develop our entire defense and bring an attitude. So to me, there's a way to look at this. You know how people keep saying Howie's not done yet? Well, maybe Howie's going to wait and see how this thing. You know, he made in-season moves last year. They were free agent moves, but he made in-season moves last year. Just saying. Do you not agree with this? If the Buccaneers are willing to trade him and you give the 32nd pick or whatever that pick is going to be, it's going to be a low pick, and I mean way low, down at the back end of the draft in the 30s and the late 20s. And that move helped you win a Super Bowl. Hey, let me ask you this. If Devin White is on that football team in Arizona, do you win the Super Bowl? If Devin White is on the football team for the Eagles, do you win the Super Bowl? That guy can cover. That guy could cover Kelsey. He has. That guy can cover tight ends, and he's a tackling machine. Okay? Do you think you win the Super Bowl? Tell you what, man. That game would have been a lot interesting because I think the Eagles would have been a lot better against the run. You got a guy like that in there. It takes away play action a little bit away from Patrick Mahomes. I'll tell you what, man, that game may have been a 1-pointer instead of a 4-point game. Just saying. That guy closes the gap for you even more. A quality guy going against Mahomes. and the other teams in the NFC. So I thought about this before we went on the air. Hey, so maybe Howie's not just looking at the rosters right now, but he's looking at teams that are going to be desperate for draft picks once they know the season is out of reach. You know, teams that like when you what is Denver better get out to a tough start, and they better get out to a great start. See, Arizona's got Budda Baker. The Bucks have some players. Hey, you might want to go in there and raid those teams.